Hey, I'm Danny.
And I'm Adam.
And this is the Play Your Best podcast.
We're a husband and wife team, faith-filled parents, wellness coaches, and the founders of DNA Fitness and the Live Long Collective.
And this show is all about helping you live long and live well and becoming the best, healthiest version of yourself, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Each week, we'll break down real-life strategies to build lasting health, stronger habits, deeper relationships, and a faith-filled mindset that equips you to show up fully in every area of your life.
So if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just tired of starting over, welcome. You're in the right place.
Let's help you play your best. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Play Your Best. My name is Adam. I'm your host with my beautiful wife,
Danny Robbins.
And we're going to bring you another great episode, hopefully inspire you and give you some tools to live out your best life now. So today our episode is going to be all about energy. How are you showing up, and how can you show up even better with more energy for the things that you are committed to on a daily basis?
Yeah, to really play your best. It's so important that we're aware of our energy, because we think we start to learn to play with such a low amount of energy and we're just burned out. And so we're going to give you some tips to really make sure that you're aware of where you're at, and you don't let it fall too low.
Yeah, because the more energy you have when you show up for something, the better you're gonna do at it, right? And that goes for your family, that goes for your business, your career, even with your finances and with your children and in your church, or all of these different areas. So the first point is that we want to make is that most people they're not aging, they're disengaging, right? I don't think that because you get older, and I think a lot of people have this story, is that as you age, what comes with that is less energy, right? And that's like a story that people believe.
Well, I think it's like a go-to, right? But I do believe that, right, over time, you have compounding habits. Over time, you have systems that aren't working as optimal. So you are fighting against the reality of aging. But I don't think we should hold on to it so tightly and make it ours and just own that. I believe we can push against it and do a lot to impact it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk about that all throughout this podcast here today. But my point that I was making is that I think people don't realize how much they have control over the energy that they have, right? Yeah. We often want to say, oh, there's not really much I can do about it, I'm just getting older.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, then it comes back to, okay, well, what are all of these habits compounding over time looking like?
I mean, we are fighting the reality of aging in our brains and all these things, but that's what I'm saying, is there's so much we can still do. Yeah.
Absolutely. But how many people have seen like the 90-year-old out there? They're still strutting their stuff. They're still happy. Yeah, are they slowing down a little bit? Of course they're slowing down a little bit. I mean, the body just is decaying right before your eyes, but at the same time, you can see there's this wittiness to him. I mean, your grandma was like this, right? Mm-hmm. She was slow as a turtle when in her last years, but she was super witty. Like she was always, like, the brain was there. She was moving around. She was doing whatever she needed to do. And then you have the opposite, where you have somebody who's like 60 or 65 years old, and they could barely get out of bed in the morning. You know, their minds aren't sharp. They're not, so it's like, what are we doing to really cultivate the energy of longevity so that we can really enjoy the last decade of our lives, the last 10 years of what we get to spend with our families?
Yeah, and it's super important. I think as we get older too, we have this deep desire, what's important has been shown to us. And so now we want to spend time with our families and make the most out of it, but then we don't have that energy. And I think even for us now, right, that can happen to me, um, where I just am tired, or you hear it all the time. I need another cup of coffee. I need my afternoon coffee. And so the body's, you're relying on these outside sources for your energy. And then you have a high, right? And then maybe a crash. So I think it's at any age that this happens, and it's being aware and it's taking your power back and saying, what can I do? So I think that's what we're going to go over.
Yeah, that's awesome too. I love that. Taking your power back. And that's what we want to do here at Play Your Best. We want people to realize that they have the potential to step into greatness and stop making all these excuses and stop holding on to these belief systems that are not true, and letting go of all of that stuff so that you can take your power back and you can live the best life possible for you. Doesn't have to look like what we do, doesn't have to look like what your neighbor does or anybody else, the Instagram people. It has to look like what you want. And that brings me to my next topic, right? Is that longevity, it equals the habits that you do on a daily basis plus the purpose behind those habits, right? And I think I probably should have said that the other way
I was gonna
around.
say start with purpose.
Because you want to have purpose first,
Yeah.
and then that purpose is then going to help you structure out your daily habits, right? And when we're looking at our life and going into the latter years and what we want it to look like and how we want to show up for our families. For me, I talk about that a lot because that's what's valuable to me. My family is the number one thing that I want to be around for a long time for, and I want to be able to show up with energy for my kids and my wife. And my kids are going to leave one day, so I definitely want to be able to show up for my wife. Because it's just going to be me and her to the end, right? So starting off with purpose and helping purpose define our habits, like then we got to go into what's actually draining us.
Yeah, and even with purpose, how can you make that go deep, right? Because often we'll stay at the first level of whatever we're working at. So if it's purpose specifically, it's, I want to fit in these jeans. Well, what's deeper than that, right? And having it, I would say, ask yourself the question over and over, and maybe try to go 4 or 5 levels deep and try to see really a deep reason why you're working towards what you're working towards. Because, right, habits are often, they happen subconsciously. And so to break that, you have to be really aware. And you have to have great intention. And to do that, you want to have a really deep purpose. So not like a one level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've done a lot of personal development work ourselves, and they typically teach you, and this is a difficult thing to do. It takes time, it takes reflection, and it takes intention, but to go 7 levels deep, right? And ask yourself, why do I want this?
Like,
why do I want
to jean example?
Yeah, okay. So why do I want to fit in these jeans? Or why do I want to lose 20 pounds, right? I want to lose 20 pounds because I'm going to feel better. Well, why do you want to feel better? Oh, well, I want to feel better because when I lose the 20 pounds, I'm gonna have more confidence in myself. Why do you want to have more confidence in yourself? I want to be able to, and you just keep on taking, well, why do you want to be able to do that thing? Well, and ultimately what it's going to come down to is one of the greater values of human life, something of the sort of like, I want to have a life of fulfillment, or I want to, be successful. That's very vague because everybody defines success differently.
Yeah, I just want it to be at that deeper root. And so it'll keep pushing you those days that you want to go back to the old habit.
Yeah. It gives you something to look at every single day so that when those old habits try and resurface, you have a power that can move that out of the way.
It's like a fire that's burning.
Yeah. And it's something that's connected inside of you. A lot of times when I'm working with clients, I find that they don't really have any definitive goals. Most people walk into the gym, I want to lose weight. That's everybody's thing. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. And then you take it
Or get
deeper
strong.
and you start to realize that, oh, they have kids. Oh, they want to be around for a long time. Oh, these things are valuable to them. And then you can give that back to them once they open up, and you can give that back to them through a series of questions. And now they have something powerful that can help move them forward towards their goal, right? The goal is, yeah, lose some weight, fit into jeans, whatever, whatever. But the purpose behind that is the power. And if you don't do the purpose, then the goal tends to dwindle away unless some radical force outside shifts that psychology and gets them to do it.
Yeah. So have a deep purpose, get quiet, ask yourself multiple times to get to the deeper root, and then what would you say is next?
Well, I would say, like, okay, we need to show up with energy, and sometimes when you're starting out this journey, it's hard to just conjure that up, right? The first time that you start thinking about a purpose, right, and you're not going to be like, boom, oh, I have all this energy. Maybe, but most likely not. So what do we need to do? We need to build some habits that are going to lead us to where we want to go.
Yeah.
So for us, I think the number one thing that is an energy thief is lack of movement, right? You don't have to show up at the gym and do some high intensity workout or lift 300 pounds or do all of these crazy things, especially in the beginning. You just have to move your body. And that might look like setting an alarm on your phone or your watch to get up every 90 minutes and do something. If you're in an office building, use it as an excuse to go to the bathroom, right? And move your body and do it intentionally where you're like stretching and getting some motion moving through all of your joints and everything.
Yeah, that you could have fun with it, right? If you're not in an office, or add in some burpees or some squats. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just the idea of moving, getting those walks in after your meals if you work from home or you get a break, right? Getting a walk in. But even like getting out of bed and sometimes just taking a minute and actually stretching. So it's just thinking of how can you add short bursts through your day if you're not getting, a long one in. They actually say it's a lot more powerful if you can break it up in short bursts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Big fan of Brian Johnson, and he does it, and that's what he teaches. He all day long, I think it's I want to say it's 60-minute intervals or 90 minutes. I think he works for 90 minutes and then he takes 20 minutes or 15 minutes and he does something. He likes to throw javelins like the Spartan race. He goes out in his backyard and throws a spear. You got to have fun with it, but you totally disconnect from what you're doing at the capacity which you're able to and move your body. Get moving and just have fun with it.
Yeah. I would say another huge one for actually the habits is your water intake.
Yeah.
Right? Your water intake, and then start it early through the day. So that's a simple one, but often one that we don't do.
Yeah.
So.
A lot of times people are underhydrated. I don't want to say dehydrated because dehydration is an extreme of underhydration. But when you think about the importance of water intake, everything that runs through our body is a current of electricity, right? It's energy. And that current flows through the conductor of water. And when we are underhydrated or dehydrated, that current doesn't function as well, right? So our body doesn't respond as fast as it could. Our muscles don't fire as quickly as it could. Our brain doesn't work as good as it could. We have brain fog. Everything starts to slow down when you're underhydrated. So the importance of hydrating is really, really up there.
Yeah, so start your morning right with I kind of have like cups, multiple different cups around, because I know, and they're usually large, because I know that if I see it, I'm going to just drink it. And I don't really, a lot of people are attached to this emotion about like, oh, it's so much. See, like, there you go again with the mind thinking, right? And the negative emotion to things. And so kind of, I always talk about this, but disattaching yourself from the emotion and just, I got to drink the water. Like, it's not really an option, and I don't make it negative, you know?
Yeah.
And so if you can start that and have your cups earlier in the day, it would be better. But whatever works for you, right? Some people walk around with like a really big jug, and they know that they have to drink whatever they need to through that day. So that's a huge one, and it's so simple. But I think first is changing that negative tone to it if it's not a thing for you. Also, a little thing is like quality of that water is really important, because you want like good things flowing through your body. So like checking into a good water system that's clean. So that's the second one, I would say. And then what was our third one?
Well, the third one, I think, so I think we should stay on the things that give us more energy if we do them, right? So we got movement, we increase our movement. That's going to help us with our energy. We increase our water intake, so we make sure we're properly hydrated throughout the day. That's going to increase our energy. And then the next one is protein intake, right? And overall calorie, protein intake, but overall calorie consumption. This is a big one for women that I tend to deal with. Majority of the women that come through our gym are under eating calories and definitely under eating protein intake. But when you under eat calories, you're suppressing your body's ability to function, and your body needs specific macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, in order to function well. And I'm a perfect example of this. Right now I'm doing a lot of blood work because I want to be as healthy as possible, and I've realized that my body is giving this picture that I'm pre-diabetic. And the reason why is not because I eat a bunch of carbs and sugar, because I don't, but it's because I'm under eating in calories and in protein, most likely. I've been a bad steward of my stuff that I preach to everybody, and not measuring. And when you don't measure, you can't manage. And so I'm not managing my food well. It's not that I'm eating bad. And I honestly, I sound like one of my clients, because everybody comes in, they're like, oh, I don't eat bad.
Yeah.
And bad is relative, right? It's like, because you eat a banana or because you eat an apple doesn't mean that you're eating well. It just means that you're not eating junk food. Okay, so that's typically what people mean. I don't eat junk food either, majority of the time. But because I've been so undernourished, my body is now breaking down protein, muscle, and it's turning that muscle into glucose, and my body is unable to eliminate the glucose out of my bloodstream through the night. So I wake up in the morning, I got a fasted blood sugar level that's super high, 100, 115, which is pre-diabetic, and that's not good in my opinion. I don't want to be like that. I want to have everything in the normal ranges. So it's super important to be nourished properly and to have the proper amounts of proteins in, because it can throw everything off. Your hormones, especially for women going into your 40s and 50s, you know, and menopause and premenopause and all of that stuff. It's really, really important.
Which I think draws us into the next one, because if you go to the root of why most women, or even us as a family, why we don't get enough calories in, it's often that like fight or flight, go, 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 gotta get more done, rush, like the culture is just do more, right? And when we start doing more, oftentimes we're neglecting our bodies or ourselves. So I can get that one more thing done, and if I get that one more thing done, but then we're not taking care of ourselves. So I would say that is a huge factor to also look at, is that deeper reason, and that fight or flight, which can show up in many ways, but oftentimes the busyness. And so how can we look at our schedule? How can we add ourselves back in? And then looking at the logistics of it. if I need to eat this much, when am I going to eat it? Because if not, the days are going to keep going and the list of stuff doesn't stop. I mean, it's like today's a new day, a new week started, and Adam's car is not working, so now we got to do something with the car. And it's like, it's so easy to just be like, oh, yeah, missed a meal. So how are you going to make up for it? How are you going to remember that it's a really important thing to take care of yourself? And for some people, they're getting their calories in, but they're in that fight or flight, and they're not like taking deep breaths and kind of disattaching from all the stuff in their mind, which usually is my problem. And so stopping and feeling emotions of love and feeling emotions of joy, and stopping from like the go go go, or I have to get more done, but like, how can I love my family in this moment? And so it takes like me taking box breathing and a few breaths and stuff like that. So fight or flight is huge, and that system, and are we living in that?
Yeah.
Because that'll drain your energy. You only have a certain amount, right? It's like the animal's going after you, and you need that, right? You need to go as fast as you can, or my baby's gonna fall and I need to go get him. But like, that's supposed to be short-lived. That's not supposed to be all day long. So how can we tap back out of that? How can we feel emotions of love and connection?
Yeah, I love that. Being able to first acknowledge or perceive that you're in that stressful state, and then having tools to move you back out of it so that you can recover well. Because when you're in that stressed out state, right, cortisol rises in your body, and that just starts messing up all kinds of other hormones as well. That slows all these processes down of metabolism and body functions, and you're gonna be less energetic. When you have high cortisol levels, your energy is going to be depleted. And so if you think about what she just said and what I just said, and add everything else on there, right? So we've talked about movement. If you're not moving, or even if you are moving, because when you're going to the gym, for those hardcore gym goers, and you're just jamming it all day long or all week long, that's stress on your body. For those of you heavy into cold plunging, that's me, that's stress on your body. If you're not sleeping 5 or 6 hours a day, that's stress on your body. You should be sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day minimum, but you're not allowing yourself to recover. So cortisol builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And then you start to get these little signs, right? Little check engine lights that keep popping up. Maybe it's a little tendonitis in the elbow. Maybe it's a little brain fog in the morning. Maybe it's a little, I don't know, you name it. And you probably know exactly what we're talking about. And we ignore that. And we continue to just compound the cortisol and the stress on the body. And eventually what happens is the truck breaks down and you got to get a tow truck to come pick it up.
Yeah.
That happened to me this morning. That's why we're talking about it. So
yeah.
Let's move away from what we can do to improve our energy. So we got movement, we got hydration. We talked a little bit about sleep. I think you all know, if you don't sleep well, like, sleep is priority over everything that we've talked about. If you're not getting adequate sleep, then everything else is not going to function the way it should. Your processing nutrition is not going to function. Your workouts are not going to function. Your recovery is not going to be good. All of that stuff. So sleep, number one. Movement, hydration, nutrition, calories in need to be equivalent to those calories out. So what's stealing our energy today?
Yeah, if you see it like that battery, right, and you only have a certain amount, what is it going towards?
I think a better way to put that question is, what are we giving our energy to that we don't realize? And then when we don't have any, we're like, where'd it go?
I mean, no one likes to hear it. But the first one is that phone, right? That phone or those electronics. because it's like a consuming, and it's a lot. I mean, it's so easy to just keep scrolling. I completely got rid of it for a while, and my body would go to pick up the phone to like look at social media, and I was just amazing on how often and how much it went to look at it. And we were doing a Bible study recently, and I was talking about it because they told you to do fast, and fasting from social media and seeing what it does. And it was really, really powerful. Um, and I highly, highly recommend it. A few ladies actually after were like, I'm totally going to do it. Why? Because anything that we have to go to consistently like that over time, sorry, um, is going to impact our energy, right? It's an addiction, and so it was powerful to completely cut it out, but putting stoppers, like once that was over, like putting time frames on, like blocking them off, because when I put the whole point is when I put the phone away, I see things differently. I see my children. I can see what they need versus like I need to do something. I'm working. So just having that separate, having somebody recommended not having it on your phone. So like you have to actually be intentional. You're going to go on the computer to actually engage with social media or work.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It's such a hard thing to do.
But the question is why? Because that's the question,
It is a great question, especially if you are over 20 years old, maybe 30, because you've lived a good portion of your life without it. Literally, social media has only been around for 10 years when you think about it. 10 years ago, we didn't have it, right? We had an iPod. We didn't have an Apple phone, so we could keep our music on the thing. But there wasn't no social media. The only thing that you had was AOL. You could go online and chat in a chat room or something with some random stranger. But now you can see 8 billion random strangers and everything about their life that they desire to post.
It's just like it's constant stimulating.
Yeah. So eliminating that out of our consumption can increase our energy because it's stealing our energy.
It's way more than just stealing our energy. It's like, what can we be doing with that time too?
Yeah, yeah. So also like how we manage the day-to-day chaos, right? I mean, we have 4 kids in our house and a dog and fish and what else do we have going on? Ourselves. We have a business that we have to keep operational, and the business is our sole provider for our home. So there's a lot of energy that has to go into that. So managing the chaos, what are some good things that we can tell our viewers to help manage the day-to-day chaos when things like we all go into life, not everybody, but one of the things I was thinking about before I continue on with this is that you were talking something about planning your day, and I thought about that saying, like, those who fail to plan to fail. And then I lost my thought, but if you're planning your day, a lot of times when the day doesn't go as planned, that in and of itself causes chaos. So how?
Well, yeah, we think a little different on this one, but what we're called to do, I believe, is have order, right? So you have chaos, and how do we create order, right? And so the schedule and the planning creates the order, but being graceful in that it's not going to always go exactly as that looks.
Yeah.
And so if you're able to give yourself grace in the order, you have a lot more peace, you have a direction, you know how to get to the end, but it's not always going to be the exact line or path, right? It might have a curve, right? It's like you got to take another car this morning to get to the work. So it was a curve there. It was like a 10, 15-minute curve, but you still got there.
Yeah.
And so it's allowing interruptions and seeing them as opportunities, right? Opportunities to grow, opportunities on like, stopping and saying, Lord, what would you have for me right now? Like, am I supposed to talk to this man that I towing my truck? Am I supposed to like just love on him, or am I supposed to just love the interruption? Right? I think that's getting out of that fight or flight. Oh my goodness, my car just broke down, not going as scheduled.
Yeah.
So versus, yeah, what's good about this, and actually being intentional and seeing things happening for us, not to us, but you still have a plan. Because I know I got to get to work after my car got towed.
Yeah.
And if you just have chaos and no one has order to follow, you think about children and how much they love order. And I can go on a tangent, so that's my thought about that.
Yeah. So I loved what you said about the. I just lost my
like
thought
the
again.
path and how to get there.
Yeah, no, that was great. I totally lost what I was going to say. Oh well,
So
sometimes that happens.
What do you think about like having order and chaos, or what's important? Because you honestly don't like being interrupted. Like, you have a goal, you got these 3 check marks, and you don't want them to be.
Yeah, so it just came back to me, right? It comes down to what you were saying. All of that comes down to mindset, right? It's like, how am I viewing what's happening right now, right? So if I have plans and I'm moving along those plans and something comes and interrupts it, what does that mean, right? What's the meaning that I'm going to choose to put on that thing? And like you said, it's like, what's the opportunity? Is there an opportunity here? Is there an opportunity for me to talk to somebody? Or is this, a lot of times what I used to say is, if I'm stuck in traffic, maybe it's God's provision for keeping me out of some kind of accident down the road, right? It's reframing your reality to be impactful to you, right? In a positive way, because our minds are wired, they're hardwired to go to the negative, to protect us from things. So if we have this view that our plan is going to get us here, and the only way to get to here is if this plan doesn't get interrupted, something comes in and interrupts it, it's going to throw us off course. Because our brain is wired to protect us. And if that's the only way for me to get there, then I'm in danger of not achieving what I need to achieve. But if I can view it as a way that, hey, this is a divine guidance that's leading me in a different direction, because that's what we truly believe. There's scripture to say man plans his way, but God guides the steps, right? You can lay the plan out. Here's the plan. I'm going to go from here, and I'm going to get to here, and I'm going to do this, this, and this. And God might take you all through this, this, and this.
It's usually that way.
Right? And it's usually that way. Nobody's plans ever go perfect the way they lay them out.
Also, I think of, like, we were talking about this yesterday, but that's stealing your energy, like getting upset, right? You have a certain amount, and how much went into that, like, my car didn't work today, my plan's not going as I want. That's robbing you of so much energy. And so it is a lot of mindset work. It's a lot of deeper work, right? If we're always curious and we're asking ourselves, well, why did I get like that? Or what's the deeper issue? Is that when things happen, it's that squeezing the toothpaste. And when you're squeezing the toothpaste, you're seeing what comes out, or what's the deeper mindset or the deeper beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And so if we're really believing that God created us and there's a submission, right? Submission to God and a submission to his plans, that I'm not just the director, right? But I'm submitting to him. And then I'm going to have joy with the gifts that he's given me wherever we're supposed to go and however it's supposed to go. Not that we don't have a plan. We still need a plan. Like, it's both.
Yeah.
So like, oh, just holly jolly, you know, let's just sit here all day. No, it's we have a plan, but let's be deterrable because we're submitting to whatever that may be, you know.
Yep. Detourable. I haven't heard that word in quite some time.
Well, maybe we need
But
it.
it's a word. I love that word. Detourable. So when we're thinking about rebuilding our energy, um, what are some things that we can do? Let's recap what we just talked about. We have a program that we are launching online with Live Long, Live Well Collective, and it's 7 pillars of wellness. We just talked about a lot of them in this
Yeah.
podcast here. The 7 pillars are number one is movement. Number two,
Nutrition.
nutrition. Number three is sleep. Number four,
Mindset.
mindset. Number five,
Your habits.
habits, stress management,
Spirituality.
and spirituality. Spirituality, like, I mean, if you're not a believer in Jesus, but you have some other religion, we're not here to like tell anybody what they should believe. We're firm believers in Jesus Christ. We're Bible believing Christians. We believe that He is the way, the truth, and the life.
He's radically
And
changed our lives and continues to mold and shape us every day.
absolutely. So, but
But we can still help you. Like we've helped people at our gym for the last, what, 10 years?
15.
15 years, just loving people, seeing where you are, and giving you the tools. And we talk about almost every podcast the power of coaching and seeing you and loving you and helping you break through whatever barrier that is. If it's through education, if it's through things that you don't see, like your blind spot, and if it's through like connection and community, which helps people move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you think about spirituality, if you just think about something that's higher than yourself that gives you purpose to move in a direction, if you don't have any spirituality, start there. Find something that moves you forward in a direction. It gets you out of yourself, right? Because we're such broken people in the sense that we're so selfish, um, and so self-centered and so self-focused. And I mean that in the most loving way. I'm pointing directly here. I'm like not trying to blame anybody for anything, but I think when I learned this is part of when I broke out of my habits that were destroying my life, and that was drug addictions and all these other things that I was trying to fill the void. Um, but that steals your joy too, right? The lack of a power that is outside of yourself that you have purpose moving towards. Um, I really encourage people to open up the Bible and read it and try and find Jesus Christ, and because He radically changed my life. So, what are some things? Movement. What could they do?
Start by stretching, start by getting your heart rate up just a little bit, walking.
Yeah. So to give you a practical thing,
That's practical.
I like very clear, definitive goals, right? Take 5 to 10 minutes out of the day. Maybe it's first thing in the morning for you, whatever time is best for you, but be intentional. Say the next 10 minutes, I am going to intentionally move my body as exercise, and whatever that looks like. You're intentionally exercising. If that looks like you going outside and walking or getting on the floor and doing some kind of yoga movement, whatever, then that's what it is. Um, Sleep. What could they do better?
Have like a downtime, pick 30 minutes, or have the simplest thing, right? Is have the same time you're going to bed, same time you're waking up, and plan it.
Okay, but most people I think are not consistent with their sleep.
That's
So
what I'm saying. Like everybody, if the house got to shut down by 8, so we can be down in bed by 9.
yeah, I like to build on habits. So what I would challenge people to do is not to really restructure the whole sleep thing, but find out how you can get 30 minutes more sleep. Period. Start with that. Get 30 minutes more sleep at night. Make it consistent. Whether it's you sleep 30 minutes longer or you go to bed 30 minutes earlier, whatever that is, get 30 minutes more and start to build on that. Do that consistently for 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Once you got that, then you can try and add on another 15 minutes or 30 more minutes. What about nutrition? What could they do there?
I don't know. I think you got them all.
Think I got them all?
I think so.
Yeah? Well, with nutrition, I think you can start by just taking a journal and writing down what you're doing so that you have some perspective on what you're actually putting into your body. Because again, just like I said about myself, what you don't measure, you can't manage. And if you're not managing something, you don't know if it's working for you or working against you. And if you're under eating, it's working against you. If you're not getting enough protein in, it's working against you. We live in South Florida. There's an abundance of carbohydrates down here in the Spanish community. So most people are not lacking on carbohydrate intake.
But quality.
But quality. So journal, write it down. That's the first step. So you just get a perspective. And then you can start making changes when you start to see. From there, what about stress management? Give us a couple practical things they can do. 2 things.
The easiest is your gratitude journal. So stop, at the end of the day, whenever works for you, and write 5 things that you're really grateful for. Or if you don't like to write, stop and focus on those 5 things, but actually try to feel it inside. Like actually try to be in that moment that you're grateful for, whatever it is that you're grateful for. That's one. And then another one that's really big is focusing on what you do want for the day. I can add on more.
Yeah. Habits, I would say to start by compounding habits with things that you already do. There's a word for it. It's not coming to my mind right now, but
Or swap it out.
Yeah, you could swap out a habit that's not working for you. But we were talking about hydration, so let's take that, and let's say you're underhydrated. So what could you do? You could get a glass of water and you could put it by your toothbrush at night. So the first thing in the morning when you're done brushing your teeth, because how many people brush their teeth every single morning? Everybody. It's a habit. It's ingrained in our behavior. Like you don't even have to think about it anymore. And you do that habit and then you drink water. It's an algorithm that you start to live by. If I brush my teeth, I drink water right after. That's what we do. So with all of those things, we've given them tons of tools in this episode.
Yeah. If you feel like you need help, support, join our community. And if you want to learn about something specific with health and wellness, drop it in the comments and we'd love to help you, and see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.